guiding light is all I know. Through wood and steel, through fire and lace, I'm blessed to walk within your grace. Is to a throig arcane. You laid the path before me, you guided every step. Raise the hammer, string the bow, her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the grass the dead time it's sure, to find it empty, our greatest fear. By the grace of the goddess we are free. We'll build the land, our hearts within. From dawn till dusk, I work, I strive. With your blessing, I'll survive. The loom, the forge, the sword, the grain in your name, I rise again. Futsa and Nirt, Futsa and Chiel, got Bua, got Tolan, got Trio. In you lies strength, in you lies skill, each victory, each talent, each trial. Great, no skill too small. Your gifts, dear goddess, guide us all. Ganga Sholas, Mila Triwar, Ahledurai, bathe our nights into force. Without your light, we have no guide, but with your hand, our place abide. String the bow, her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the grass the dead time it's sore, to find it and tear our greatest deed. By the grace of the goddess we are free. We'll build the land, our hearts within. To walk within your grace, blessed by her grace, forever, forever.
Hello, welcome everyone, and welcome to the premiere of another series within a series, the Philosophy, Leadership, and Life, a Journey Through Time. I'm your host, and Emphir is the avatar. And today, we're diving deep into the question, what is wisdom? Why do I say it that way? Because we, as everyday movers and shakers, and people who really don't have time or don't want to think or don't have time to think about wisdom and where it comes from, why not? So throughout history, wisdom has been seen as this treasure trove of knowledge, right? Insight, experience. But wisdom simply is about rational thought. Like what Socrates taught, or is it something deeper? A mix of spiritual insight and practical experience, as many Eastern and other traditions suggest. So over this series, over the next 6 episodes, which will take us to 100, episode 100, we will look at or explore different philosophies and see how they shape our views on leadership, work, and even strategies in MMORPGs such as Pax Dei. Today we'll start with the very foundations, and that's what is wisdom. So before we get started, I'm going to drop a message in the chat. And it will be, the first one is always and always will be. And the second one, when you think of wisdom, what comes to your mind? A wise person, a particular teaching, or I'm sorry, excuse me, a wise person, a particular teaching, or maybe a moment when you learn something life-changing. So by the end of this episode, we'll have a better understanding of different perspectives on wisdom, from the rational Greeks to the harmonious Eastern philosophies to the introspection from India and ethical perspectives from the Middle East. And I'll show you how these ideas apply to the leadership in the workplace, in your personal life, and even your strategies in gaming. So let's begin after I start going to, because as we do this, I'm going to play the game. And I'm off. I think I need to do some mining, so we will do that first. And somehow I got a really weird combination of, oh, I know what I did. I got bear stew. That's it. That's how that worked. All right, swim across here. So we'll begin with the West, right? Ancient Greece has given us some of the most influential ideas about wisdom. When you look at Socrates and the Socratic method, you look at the only true wisdom is in knowing you, knowing nothing. Deep, right? Very deep. And that's why I started the channel, because I don't know everything. So hopefully through this interaction between the live stream and comment section after the live stream, I will get to know more about the subject matter we cover during the podcasts. So here's a quote for you. The only true wisdom, oh, I just said it. And that's a quote from Socrates. So he taught us the wisdom begins with humility. By questioning everything, even our own beliefs, we open ourselves up to deeper insights. Modern research, like the study by Aronson and colleagues in 2019, shows that structured reflection leads to better long-term decision making. I'll say that time because that's kind of choppy. Maybe I was forming my thought. Modern research, like the study by Aronson and colleagues in 2019, shows us that structured reflection leads to better long-term decision making. So, what is the workplace and leadership connection? And that's one of the other components of this channel. We want to ensure that we make these connections, game, work, and in your everyday life. Now, before we get started here, we can do a gathering summon. So we're going to ask for grace. And we'll get to it. There we go. All right. So in the workplace, leaders who pause to ask thoughtful questions rather than jumping to conclusions create environments where innovation thrives. Think of Steve Jobs, who is famous for challenging the status quo with his relentless why questions. The gaming connection, especially in Pax Dei, for anyone playing Pax Dei, consider your clan leadership instead of commanding a direct. Instead of uh, commanding a direct attack on the enemy fortress, ask the team, what do we really gain from this move? Is there a smarter alternative? Is there a power? Is the power of this Socratic method in action? Right. So you're looking at a ruin, or let's take what we're looking at here. We have inquisitors. If I was with a group of people, I'd say, all right, who do we attack first? Who do we aggro? Where does it benefit us most to attack from the valley, from the hill, from the hilltop? We know they're going to run or try to meet us in a certain aspect to fight us head on. So using the Socratic method helps in planning, even planning when you're just about to attack in the immediate, right? So Plato and the allegory of the cave said Plato extended the Socratic ideas through the allegory of the cave. So it tells us many live in ignorance until they seek true knowledge. So the allegory of the cave, for those of you who aren't familiar, Plato basically said we all live in a cave, and then as we learn to move toward the mouth of the cave and into the light, right? The allegory. It's an allegory, right? So we're moving from the darkness of the cave into the light of the day. So imagine training your team at work to think critically and explore ideas instead of simply following orders. This approach fosters creativity and long-term growth. Through the gaming connection, especially in MMORPGs, experienced players often take newer members under their wing, revealing hidden strategies and mechanics, much like leading them out of the proverbial cave. So it lends the question, since we're talking about critical thinking, is it best to come upon that knowledge naturally or in a learned environment? Pretty cool, right? So if we think about that concept in the allegory of the cave, you have to fast forward in time. I believe it was who was it? I want to make sure I get their name right. So let me pull this up. All right. So the exact quote, I would have freed more slaves if they only knew they were slaves. And the attributions, although the quote is sometimes linked to Abe Lincoln, historians and fact checkers have never found a reliable documentation on any of the speeches, right? Harriet Tubman was also thought to have quoted this as well. But it regardless of who I'm giving the credit to, the attribution to, the thought, that thought is the allegory of the cave, right? People in darkness, not knowing they are in darkness, right? It makes a lot of sense when you apply it to the question that I came up with. Do we teach people or allow them to find out? So do we guide them into or onto the path and allow them to journey down the path, or do we just give them the answer? And I think there's merit in both techniques. We just have to observe where the merit would come from, right? Meaning, where is my benefit? If I tell somebody right away, or do I lead them down the path? So now let's shift our focus to the East, where the ideas of Confucius and Lao Tzu offer contrasting yet complementary views on wisdom. Confucius was very wisdom through structure and morality. So he basically said wisdom is about applying knowledge to live a moral and ethical life. His concept of Ren, which Ren emphasizes benevolence and caring for others. So if we apply this to work and leadership connections, think of companies like Google, where strong ethical cultures and teamwork are key to success. Wise leaders, like great guild leaders in games, create an environment based on respect and fairness. When you create that, you have to be consistent. Any one deviation, this is my opinion now. I haven't gotten any validation on this, meaning that I haven't looked up a study that actually would provide me any real solid evidence, because I haven't looked it up. I should look it up. But it's anecdotal. When a leader lies to me purposefully and without preparation, I won't believe them ever again. There's no reason to. Now, if a leader says, I can't tell you, or I won't be able to give you all the information and prefaces, I have total respect for that. Why? Because they can't tell me everything. Okay. I'm not going to press somebody to deviate from their own what's a good word for it? From their own word. You know, if they've given their word, or the expectation was always there for them once they made manager or management or leader, to not give up certain things, then that's okay by me. I mean, that's totally acceptable. So in gaming communities, a guild leader who sets clear rules and acts ethically tends to build trust and loyalty among its members. Their positions, much like a leader who values teamwork in real life organizations. I wrote a paper in LinkedIn tying MMORPGs into real life leadership, and should companies use or leverage the MMORPGs such as Pax Dei for different leadership training. This is one of those areas where I think you would benefit. Hear me out, because I wrote this in the paper. If you, as a leader, can get a clan or guild strangers, right? For the first part, you're strangers, right? You might become friends, but for the first part, you're strangers. So you're going to lead them into a common goal and a common vision. You have to get them excited about sharing that vision. You have to attend to their needs and their wants while they're playing the game because it's relaxing to them, right? They don't want to have to uh, not enjoy the game, right? So it makes sense when you're looking at a leader who values teamwork in real life organizations, but you act ethically and build trust. So I am just spazzing out because I got to look at my notes. I am a note taker. So Lao Tzu in Taoism, wisdom. What do we do? Wisdom through flow. So Wu Wei, essentially. So this is in contrast to Confucius, actually. Confucius. I have to look that up. Lao Tzu teaches us about the beauty of non-resistance, Wu Wei, or effortless action. Wisdom means aligning with the natural flow of life rather than forcing outcomes. So come what may. There's a parable, and I don't know who did it, but I saw it on YouTube, and the channel, and I can't remember the channel, so forgive me. They did a really cool parable about a what I thought was an allegory for Jesus or those who have attained enlightenedness, like Buddha or somebody that has attained that enlightenment, that transcendence, if you will. And basically, I'm going to shorten it big time. Basically, the story went. There was a person who was in a river with all the other people, right at the bottom of the river, holding on to the rocks, dear life, trying to keep their position, fighting against the current. Then one day, this person who was told either by God or by another entity, just let go of the rock. And everybody was like, no, don't go with the rock. You'll surely die. You'll crash onto the rocks and you'll die, right? Well, what happened was this person let go. And indeed, when they let go, they crashed upon the rocks. Beating and battered, they finally started to float above everyone, above the rocks. And as the people who were clinging to the rocks for dear life looked up and said and saw the person, they were like, "Oh, look, it's a god. It's God." And the person who was floating by them with the current, with the river, said, "All you have to do is let go." And the people were like, "No, I'll die. No, I'm not going to do that." And this person who let go is just flowing down the river, taking life in the flow. So kind of like Wu Wei. It might be a Taoist parable, by the way. Let's see. So this is why micromanagement often backfires. Great leaders know when to step back, and let their teams work naturally. It's much like sports coach who trusts the players' instincts. You practice and practice and practice, but at a certain point, that coach cannot go on the field, no matter how much you want them to. So what's the gaming connection for Pax Dei in particular? In a fast-paced PvP battle or a complex economic system like Pax Dei, sometimes the best strategy is to go with the flow, adapt quickly, and avoid overcomplicating your plans. Like tonight, I am definitely not thinking about anything in particular, but I do need to get iron ore. So I use the blessing, even though it's going to be almost wasted, because I'm gonna have to. It'll take a while to get back and forth to the iron areas, but I'm taking it into account, right? Let's see. Supporting. All right, here's a supporting study. Psychologist Mihaly. And I am going to totally butcher this person's name, and forgive me. Sisk Sazent Mahale. So Milhale Sisk Sazent Mahale, work on flow in 1990, shows that when we are in a state, when we're in the flow state, our performance peaks and stress levels drop. How many have been in that flow state, right? It's incredible. Like, it says like no nerd. I can make these up. That's what I'm worried about. I was dropping lots. Interesting. A lot of iron ore. All right. And we're off. So I'd love to know, do you resonate more with the structured ethical approach of Confucius or the adaptable flowing wisdom of Lao Tzu? Let me know in the chat. I'll put that in the chat. That way we have it in there. I like to say these are tools in my toolbox. So there could be one that I would use, and it doesn't have to be over another. I don't have to use one over the other. Because I can use both in certain situations. So let's look at a little Indian wisdom. So checking my iron because I'm one short. And I don't really want to waste a whole node, but I'm going to. Okay. So I'm gonna butcher this one. Umpanash niche Umpanish. Let me look that up. I don't want to butcher that too much. I know I looked it up earlier today, and I actually had it. I thought in pretty good. It's Upu niche. Uts. Upu niche uts. Sorry. Upanishads. All right. So we're heading the Upanishads introduces wisdom as an inward journey where self-knowledge is paramount. Now I know where that is. It's just good. Back where we came. Whence we came. All right. I missed that one. Oh. All right. So, what are your deep driving? What is your deep or oh, sorry. The quote is, "You are what your deep driving desire is." Okay, that's pretty wise. In today's world, leaders are increasingly turning to mindfulness and self awareness training to improve decision making and emotional intelligence. In the gaming community, for players, knowing your own strengths and weaknesses can be the key to mastering the game and making better strategic decisions. I wholeheartedly believe that. So, Buddha says the middle path. Buddhist teachings remind us that wisdom also means balance, avoiding extremes in every aspect of life. So, what's this work connection? This balance is crucial to prevent burnout. Think of the middle path as a way to balance ambition and well-being. Gaming connection in the gaming world the world balancing aggressive play with patience can make the difference between victory and defeat. In Pax Dei, I can express this very very well. And I have not turned up my audio. Okay. All right. So in Pax Dei, when the patience to hone your craft first and then go adventuring, no matter which your craft. For example, if you hone alchemy and you're adventuring in low level areas and you try to patience is a key virtue here, right? You want to be able to benefit others, and you also want to be able to benefit yourself. So here's the Middle Eastern, because I wanted to take a little bit of wisdom from everywhere because we all had something to contribute. So the Zoroaster, I think it's Zoroaster. The teachings this teaches from the ancient Persia, and it focuses on the external battle between truth and deception. For him, wisdom was about choosing truth over falsehood. So in a corporate setting, fostering an ethical workplace where truth is valued leads to more trust and better decision making. I had mentioned this just earlier that I really once I can't trust somebody, it's basically over. You can earn your trust back. I can, for certain. I do leave a redemption path. I don't think it would be fair for me not to. All right, let's put this away. Wrong one. There we go. And I need to get rid of some of these as well. These weapons, because I'm not fighting anything if I can help it. So I'll take a minute. Put some of these weapons. I don't need that. And Yeah, that'll give me 2 spaces. That's not bad. Okay. Alright. Let's get to the other side of the river. And hopefully we can still use these 30 more minutes. Lastly, alright, so in gaming connection for Zoroaster. I wish I should have did a little bit more. I should have looked that up a little bit more. That's all right. In-game environment, a leader who builds alliances based on honesty and integrity, right, will create more resilient and loyal team. Of course. So I'd love your input on which one of these philosophies do you think offers the best definition of wisdom? Share your thoughts. I like I said, I'm a very much a toolbox type of person, meaning all of these have value to me. Defining wisdom in and of itself, that's a little bit more fluid in my opinion. There's some really good definitions that we've gone over and very much some really good use cases as well. So I dare not look at the use cases of, or I should say, I dare not just select wisdom is X. It is this and no other. So I'd love your feedback and see what you guys think. All right, well, I'm trying to do 2 things at once, so we are going as fast as we can to the nodes that we left. I have 32 minutes left on the blessing, so I think I'll make it. But I'm using the sprint. I really don't want to say it's a glitch. It's a feature. As you cross a boundary, pro tip time, as you cross a boundary in Pax Dei, if you hold the shift down and you just continue to run, just forward, run, don't jump, don't go, don't hit anything, don't pull a weapon, don't do anything but run like I'm doing right now, and you will you actually start to sprint without exhaustion. It's a way to get back to your starting point a little bit faster. It's not like it's going to get you there as fast as, teleporting. However, that's why I don't consider it a cheat, really. And I will stop for this one because it's iron. All right, let's go on to the. Well, let's recap for a minute. So, Western wisdom. We went over Socrates and Plato. There's many others. Always question and seek deeper truths. Yes, 100%. Eastern wisdom. Confucius and Lao Tzu. Balance ethical structure with adaptable flow. Indian wisdom, the Upanishads and Buddha. Wisdom is knowing yourself and maintaining the balance. I don't want to run into any creatures that I can't fight. I didn't create a instance on where I hate that area. Yeah. See what I mean by there's rocks and stone lands that will just stop you from running? Those are the things you have to be vigilant about when you're using the feature. Okay. Middle East, the Zoroaster, anyway. Always choose truth over deception. Man, I think we can all agree with that. But is it wisdom? Is it wisdom? Up to you. So, what are the practical applications in leadership at work? In the workplace, incorporating these ideas means asking probing questions before making decisions, which is the Socratic method. Trusting your team to find out on their own flow instead of micromanaging. That's Lao Tzu Wu Wei. Building a strong ethical culture where respect is key. That's a Confucian value. So, what about Pax Dei? For gamers, especially those leading guilds or clans, use critical questioning to develop effective strategies, and then adapt your tactics on the fly rather than sticking too rigidly to one plan. Foster fair and ethical community that supports all of its members. I don't think I've said anything controversial here on wisdom, right? There's a lot of stuff. So before we wrap up this segment, I want you to think about this. Which philosophical approach do you see reflected in your leadership style? Whether at work or in life, or even in your gaming. Let me know in the chat. I'm reading over my notes. I think I sped through that a little bit too much. But well, let's hold that episode to my script that I wrote, because I want to get into this in a 6-segment live, or make this 6 segments, because wisdom is so important, and it's so important to define to yourself. I think most of the foundational thoughts, and I brought this up last night, some of the things we just use in everyday conversation in our vernacular, they're not exactly what they were meant to be. Meaning, when we say belief, we are talking about a specific set of ideas. We're talking about a definition of belief. A lot of people will turn or take that word and twist its meaning to their conversation of what they need at the moment. Like, I believe this. Do you believe that, or is it more of a is it something else? Values. Where do your values come from? Right? We want to question all these foundations. It doesn't mean when you question something, you're wrong for believing it or valuing it. It means you're questioning it for a moment, and perhaps you'll solidify that value or belief. And that is where this lesson defining wisdom comes out, because a lot of people will say, wisdom, and they won't really ask, what is it? What is it about? What does it take care of? Is wisdom questioning all the time? Is it going with the flow? And as we've seen, different philosophers in different areas of the globe say those very things. But it's a broader subject, right? We don't want to automatically assume anything. especially when wisdom is applied. And when wisdom is applied, some people have those little sayings. True wisdom is knowing when to apply wisdom, right? I'm not so sure that's wisdom, because what if the wisdom that you're trying to convey is not exactly wisdom? That's what we're getting into this whole week, up to episode 100, by the way, which will be probably on Friday. Tomorrow's 95, and then I think Friday's 96. That'll be a little bit of time, but I think everybody will enjoy it nonetheless. I hate when you drink anymore. It stops you from doing what you were doing. So if I had a little bit more interactive audience, I would go into the it's pretty sad when you can take the bear is a faster as a faster way of going around things. Oh, he's an infinite bear. I'll take that run. Let's see if I run away with that infinite. I don't really want to fight an infinite bear right now because I'm under a blessing. So let's see what he does. He's all the way over there. That's not what I wanted to do. Cool. Yeah, infinite bears are really good to level up on. Speaking of in-game wisdom. He's pissed though. I took my potion by accident. Let's see if yeah, they're coming up. Can't take them in my current configuration. All right, I'll take it. I'll take that as a win. The wisdom to run, or to if I had a shield, I might do something, but honestly, it's right now. I've been hunting boar, so I'm not really prepared for a boar fight, especially in a boar fight. I thought there was a note up here, and I guess I was wrong. I have 21 minutes left on my blessing. So, a little feedback. What questions do you have about today's discussion on wisdom? Feel free to ask about any of the philosophies or how you can apply these ideas to your own life in gaming. And I want to definitely keep in mind, have you keep in mind, that research on, on subjects on your own will yield a lot of benefit to any subject matter that you want to learn. Where do I want to go? Got a little bit of time on the podcast. I need to get a little bit more material than that in the future, because I thought I would be filling 2 hours with that material, but it looks like it was not. That's all right. Lesson learned, right? That is okay. I hear the barracks, am I right? Doesn't look like a lot of people were out farming today. I'm okay with that. I went through a lot of wrought iron or iron ore, trying to level up my blacksmithing, and then we took out some recipes, and I found out that the recipes or the ingredients that I was crafting were useless. Although I got crafting experience out of it, so Wu Wei, go with it. It's not as bad as one would think. Man just wants to show up. And let me do this. All right. I'm gonna have the AI come up with something really quick that I can actually talk to. Here we go. Oh, this is actually good. Let's talk about modern perspectives on wisdom, right? So, yeah, I did a little bit of research in this before, so but this is good. Let's talk. So, emotional intelligence, it always comes up. Daniel Goleman's work on EI and how self-awareness, empathy, and regulation tie into wisdom. So, leaders who develop EI create more cohesive and resilient teams because they can tailor the use of the leaders, the wisdom philosophy with people, right? Did you ever have a person that was very rigid in scheduling, the way they worked, and if you took them out of their environment, it would just crumble, right? They would be like behind, their work wouldn't be as good. Still good, but not as good. Well, as a leader, you need to identify that kind of person and say, Wu Wei may not be the best for that person. Perhaps a little bit more structure in Confucianism might be a better decision, or even looking at Plato, right? In certain aspects of their behavior. So EI, or emotional intelligence, is a useful tool in administering which type of wisdom might be best used. And it's a good tool for what leadership style is best for the group that you're in, whether that's online, gaming, like in Pax Dei, or if that is on in work, or, well, we're talking about work, but in your personal life as well. There's a lot of different aspects to EI that will help. I don't think it would be the end all be all. So I want to make sure people understand my position on that. EI is a good tool. It is not there for permanency or to take over in any meaningful way. So it basically is mindfulness and decision making. Right? We highlight the modern research by, I think it's John Kabat-Zinn and others on mindfulness as meditation as a tool. Many people might be saying, well, that's the new age stuff. Well, mindfulness meditation as a tool for clearer thinking is scientifically studied, and I'm gonna say is needed in everyday life. Mindful meditation, and don't be mistaken, they've done studies on how prayer mimics mindful meditation. So you can still reap the benefits if you're religious, right? And many religious people do reap the benefits without even knowing. So fast-paced environments like MMORPGs, staying mindful can help you make better strategic decisions under pressure. I would say that would be true for every major decision. I was hoping to get more iron. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to lower this side. Now I'm going to run out of blessing on the other side. Let's talk about cognitive bias and critical thinking for a moment. The Socratic method or questioning helps overcome modern day cognitive bias, right? We talked about cognitive biases yesterday. So any leader who asks questions, especially if I think it was Ford, if I remember right. Ford, they marketed a car in Mexico, and they named it. I forget what they named it, but they named it something, and it basically just didn't mean what Ford thought it would mean, and obviously because of the naming convention, the Mexican people were like, the consumer was like, dude, I'm not doing that. I'm not touching that. Thank you very much, but no thank you. Not gonna do it. So I thought that was interesting, and there's been companies in a lot of different aspects of in other countries that if the leadership would have just asked the question, especially if they have people, a diverse workforce, right? Meaning, if they have people from all over the world, or people in American companies, especially, we have a real. I think it's a benefit. Is many Americans have immigrated to the country, so you can ask somebody about a certain country, and sometimes there'll be one or two removed from that particular country, and you get some type of feedback from the employee about your naming convention in this case, well, as an example. So I think that's important for everyone, right? And it just did not want to give me iron. Let's see if there's any iron down there. Sand. That's some sand. I'm almost full. All right, I'll head back. let's see. Here's some modern leadership theories, right? Servant leadership and adaptive leadership incorporate these principles of ancient wisdom in them. We use these principles of ancient wisdom without even knowing a lot of times. And I'm really of the mind that I want people to understand there's nothing new under the sun. And we could take an entire episode to explore invention, right? And I think I will. I did one a while back, but I couldn't even tell you the podcast number. So here's some. We haven't even touched the surface of Native American wisdom or African wisdom or Aboriginal traditions that emphasize communal wisdom, storytelling, living in harmony with nature. Right, so there's still a lot of wisdom that we haven't even touched. The major ones of the major religions or the major philosophers I've touched. I'll probably rethink the way I do the podcast tomorrow and try to incorporate some of those types of logic and reason into the wisdom of those episodes. For example, Ubuntu, I thought was amazing. It's a pretty cool wisdom based word, and a lot of people don't know that Ubuntu is actually the operating system is based off of a philosophy out of Apple, which I think is amazing. We can talk about the wise mentor, right? The archetype in the movies, like Gandalf in Lord of the Rings, or NPCs in MMORPGs. Those types of figures provide a little bit more depth for us, right? They provide these pearls of wisdom or information that allow us the ability to see something that may not be we hadn't seen fully. I think that's amazing. And get a mentor at work. It's a lot of people, a lot of management streams will look at mentors as a path to leadership, meaning they'll look for people to become mentors. I think that's pretty cool. So, does anybody have a favorite example of a mentor character or what wisdom they imparted? I think one of the most famous is Yoda, right? Gandalf was definitely in that mentorship. What other characters in movies would maybe your favorite movie that imparted some type of wisdom? There was what was that movie called? I couldn't even tell you now. Oh my goodness. It was about Perseus, and they visited the witches, the oracles with the eyes. So the wisdom was sought it wasn't a mentor for sure, but it was sought in that type of movie where the main characters the heroes didn't have a path, so they needed to move on within that story arc, right? Same with us in real life. We may not have that mentor, right? However, there are outlets, or what's a good word? Sacroleum, maybe. Basically, there's I'm just really ghosting on the word, but there's other places we can seek this wisdom and trust it. Right? That's the big thing. You need to trust where your wisdom's coming from. Otherwise, it's not really wisdom as defined by Confucius. That hour went by quick. Let's see. We seek wisdom in the weirdest places as humans, but um, let's take for instance, we elevate our pop stars in pursuit of wisdom, but in all honesty, we should. Right? It is very interesting to say the least. But I encourage you to really take stock in your mentor, meaning who your mentor is. Ask questions, right? Because if they're your mentor, they would be 100% with you on you asking them questions, right? If they're not 100% with you on that, then I would question their wisdom. So, what are some famous proverbs from various cultures? Here's a proverb probably not many people remember: "A stitch in time saves nine." Or one of the African proverbs about communal responsibility. Um, an explanation of this is how wisdom is passed down, right? Through these I thought these are there's one. Oh, yeah, we did one. Okay. These are this is definitely how you pass down the tradition, right? Very interesting that some of our proverbs or some of our sayings are very wise and last throughout uh, throughout a century, right? It's very cool and should not be discounted just because they're sayings. Just realized I have 3 furnaces that I'm not using. Let's do it. See how much I have room for. That's it, huh? Got a rainbow? No. Let's take it all. 7. I thought I had. I was like, I should be able to put these furnaces. Wisdom will help you in games as well. So keep that in mind as you're going through a game and you're trying to level up or exceed certain things. You'll gain wisdom, right? From attempting these evolutions or these tasks. And, I have 2 bronze things as well. That's not. And I think I'm going to have all of them in a furnace. I just got them. Dude, I was hoping I. Nope, I'm not going to. Darn. So close. The good news is I have more wrought iron ingots. So that's good. Put those away, and I'll continue our conversation once I get this organized. It's very easy to get disorganized in this game, and for continuity of your sanity, you should definitely be able to take into account where all your stuff is. Here we go. Alright. I did something weird. Look at those numbers. Pretty cool. I think I'm going to start crafting stuff so I can get most of this stuff in here. Here we go. Alright. Since we're going to be home, we'll change into our home clothes. And then we continue our conversation. There we go. Looking stylish in its blacksmithing. Alright. Now we're just gonna figure out what we're gonna do here. So let's reflect on a time when you rushed into a decision. What might have happened to you if you took a moment to ask yourself, what are the underlying assumptions here? This is that's another. We're going to do an episode on interviews, but these next 6 episodes are going to be more to the to wisdom. But these are good to ask yourself in everyday work, in life, but also write these stories down. And why do I say write these stories down? Because you will be asked to give a story during an interview. And these are the perfect things to talk about in the STAR method, of course, just so it's concise. But you can take the reflection time before the interview, or even this reflection time should be almost every day. What I don't want you to get into the pitfall is reflecting so much on a single thing because you'll just go into a spiral, especially if you're questioning yourself. And one great technique for mindfulness is look up breathing exercises. Not the crazy ones, just normal. every day, breathing every. People don't take the time to breathe. Take a minute. And you'll find that once you start breathing, now some say in through the nose, out through the mouth, and do that 3 times, right? I'm exaggerating for the mic. You don't have to exaggerate. All of these pauses will allow you to think rationally, to access the wisdom that you have learned and proceed forward within the context of the conversation. You look at different points of time in different aspects, and you can look at the anecdotal. So when you overcome adversity, you gain wisdom, caution, footnote, whatever you want to call this. You have to be aware that every situation is not a duplicate or a copy or a carbon copy of the situation in the future. So when you're in that situation, you can look to the past, but don't rely on the past outcome in order to form your current situation, or in order to inform your current situation. You saw me retreat a couple times in the game. Well, where did that wisdom come from? Well, the infinite bear I could have avoided damage pretty much until the end of the podcast, but I wouldn't have killed him. So the smart money was on. As he ran away, I ran away. Good, smart. Would I have done that in the past? No, and I died because of it. How about the boar? The boar came up. There's 2 of them. I didn't have a shield. I was going to take damage. The wisdom in that what would have been the wisdom in that? I would have had boar hide that I would have dropped because I didn't want it. So the effective learning was, okay, let me run. Let me do a couple things so they don't pursue me. And it had just happened that I was able to go over a ridge. And I say ridge, it's basically a path that they would have had to go around, and the AI is not that smart yet. I say AI, but let's face it. It's just computer bits right now. If and when they do decide to put some type of limited AI on monsters and graduate the AI as far as intelligence of the being they're giving the AI to, that would be awesome. I'm wholly for it. It would be interesting to see when, let's say, when you're fighting a boar. Boars don't necessarily run after a certain amount of damage, but other animals. And before I got to the level I am, deer wouldn't run. Well, they'd always try to run. Let me rephrase that. They'd always try to run, but once you caught up to them, you could hit them. It was weird because they would attempt to run. And at a certain point, they would run through you because of the way the AI, or the way the program was written. I think with, if something takes enough damage, it'll try to run away, right? That would be kind of. You always want to reflect and learn from mistakes. Like, I can tell you how many times I've sat down after the mistake and said, let me see. Write it down even. Write down the mistake you made, how you're going to avoid making a mistake again. A lot of people get frustrated, and when you get frustrated, you tend to make more mistakes. than you would if you would just stop, right? It's so expensive for a lot of things. It says basic wrought iron greatsword, but it's a steel blade. I don't understand that. Everything's steel up to a certain point. So I'm gonna have to. Which one do I have to get in? I think I have to get my tail. You can make a lot of stuff. Oh, I forgot to put away my See, and people were imparting wisdom on somebody who asked in the chat. And let me pull that up because it's a really good indicator. It's a really good. So if you look at the chat right now, we have starting here. Touch F. How does someone unlock the iron chopping axe? Currently weapon 10 and cutting 31. So Varian came back and said, you have to be high enough level. He didn't give the level. He's made the axe head with the mats and the mats ability to make a couple dozen more. And then Wolfstand said he unlocked at 15. So they're imparting the wisdom, right? Imparting the wisdom. And that's part of the game, right? You're talking to people. You're really imparting wisdom that will help facilitate learning, and all of this is a good thing. So he'll get that. As a matter of fact, I'll say you just need impart my knowledge. What was that? Because I wanted to look at this. I have 482. Let's get the traveling gear on and let's see. I usually bring this. You know what? I'm gonna bring this instead. And for picking, I don't need anything else. But I will need my leather armor because I'm outside my house. I'm playing it safe. I don't need my plate mail because I've learned that my plate takes damage. I have to repair it, and after repairing it, might not be the best action, right? All right, let's see. So you have to balance in what I'm doing here. You have to balance risk-taking with caution, right? Whether it's even business ventures or if it's, just going out in your home valley in Pax Dei. I am currently going to be at 189 hit points. So is that good enough for me to survive any home valley attack? Yeah. Yeah. Even direwolves would have a hard time killing me with the weapon setup I currently have. And I didn't bring any potions, so I gotta be careful. But I do have the Demon Hunter's tunic on, which gives me the spell of Mesmerize, which means they can't do anything until I hit them at least once. There we go. And then I just drop everything that they gave me. That'll be. And as you walk, the wisdom of walking through these has been I haven't said as I learned patience in trying to pick up stuff. You can pick up stuff fairly easily, but it's just when you're doing groups of things like this, you think you're hitting all the right buttons, but it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't register. That's the difference between the lag of the computer and the lag of the server picking up the command going through the internet, right? Since I don't have the blessing, I have to pick up every one of these. Blessings help on gathering. The blessings, I have to check out, they did the hotfix on the blessings on the crafting portion, and I'm wondering if they fixed all of the crafting portion of it. Because it used to, before the hotfix, you'd be crafting at a level higher, but you'd also get the experience for that level higher, which blessing didn't do you any good at that point. If your blessing brought you up to level 25, you'd expect the experience generated or received would be that of level 24. And that's the way it should be. The blessing should use your experience. You're still getting the level of experience. You're just having to, or you're gaining the level of knowledge because of the blessing, the grace that the goddess that she gifted you. So as we conclude tonight's episode, I'm going to go back to the my original final thoughts. Remember that wisdom isn't just about accumulating knowledge. It's about how you apply it in everyday life. Whether it's questioning assumptions like Socrates, embracing the natural flow like Lao Tzu, or knowing yourself deeply as the niche suggest. Each approach offers a powerful insight into leadership and life. So next time, tomorrow, tomorrow's Monday. Yeah, tomorrow I will be able to be on. Is the only times I'm not on is when I have meetings that contradict the 8 Central that I apply the live stream to. So we'll talk about ethics and the nature of of the good life. How should we live? We'll delve into the ethical theories and how they guide both our professional and personal lives. We will also, I'll say this. If you enjoyed today's journey, please like, subscribe, and share the stream with your friends. Your support helps us explore all these timeless endeavors. Plus, it helps me learn because I have an audience that really wants to come with me in this journey. So thank you for joining me on this adventure into the foundations of thought. This is Emfir, the Avatar, and of course myself, Panda Paciano. I look forward to our next conversation, so stay wise, see you next time, and be safe.
every step, a lesson learned. From fire's heat to the fields I've turned, the blade and bow, the forge and flame. I sharpen my skills, I play the game. Each day brings a challenge I must face. I train my hands with careful grace. From alchemy's art to the hunter's way, I'll find the strength to seize the day. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. From the herbs I find to the iron I mold, each lesson learned is a story told. The stars above, they guide my hand. As I hone my craft, I take my stand. In the quiet woods, in the mountains chill, I push myself, I shape my will. With each new tool and every lore, I'm stronger now than I was before. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. The road is long, but I won't turn back. The lessons I learned keep me on track. With each new skill, the stronger I grow. In the face of the storm, I let my courage show. I've tasted defeat, I felt the sting, but I rise again with each new spring. For knowledge is power, and wisdom the key. I'm forging my path, I'm breaking free. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready